Welcome to our initial episode of the Referral Chat. I'm Matt Ward with Breakthrough Champion, and my guest today is Pauline Robertson from Shear Transformation. Thank you for joining me, Pauline.
Thank you for having me, Matt.
So tell everybody who's watching a little bit about what your business is and what do you do?
Well, I've been in the hair industry for many years. So what I've done with my business, Shear Transformation, is I've taken all my years of experience in the industry because I've been an educator. I've managed many salon and day spas, both on the East and West Coast, and I've helped build businesses. And what's lacking in my industry is the business-minded sense of growing your business or growing your clientele. So having also been a certified life coach quite a few years back, I've combined both skills in working with salon owners and their employees to create their culture, to grow their business, because there's such a need for it in my industry. You know, what I've learned through the years is the average hairstylist across the US makes between $35,000 and $40,000 a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's probably barely minimum wage these days.
Exactly.
So is that a little bit why you started the business? Tell us a little bit about why you started it.
Because I've recognized the need for it. I mean, I've worked behind the chair off and on through the years, and my goal is to not be behind the chair until I turn 65. And I've always been so passionate with the hair industry, you know, again, being educators for many different companies, managing and helping others to become successful behind the chair, that I want it for everyone. I feel everyone deserves to be successful if they want to work at it and attain it, personal and professional goals. And that's a big part of my industry, is a lot of people don't think big. So getting them to think big on a personal level will help them to think bigger behind the chair.
Oh, that's great. That's great. So your clients and customers, they tend to be the people who are behind the chair that want to move and to being more of a manager or owner and running the business more than working in the business, that type of client? Well,
also too, like being an independent stylist, like I am now, I'm not an employee anymore. So what I've come up with is how to become a six-figure hairstylist. And if you're making
that's a big thing, huh? If you're moving from 35 or 40,000,
right? That 100,000 is a big jump. Or thinking bigger. When there are definitely hairstylists in the industry who are very successful, who are making far more than that, but to go from 35 to six figures, you know, is huge.
Right. So what's the primary way that your customers come to you? Is it by referral?
It is. It's definitely word of mouth, you know, and part of it is, you know, networking, because there's many people who have hairstylists or no salon owners or barbers even. And they hear it, you know, hairstylists share almost everything with their clients sometimes too much, but they'll, you know, a salon owner will be like, oh, it's so hard to get a hairstylist. Oh, I can't keep clients, etc. So those are like the key listening words. Well, oh, I know somebody who could help you with this.
Gotcha. Now, so people, when you're educating people on how to refer people to you, you're giving them buzzwords to listen for, things like frustrated with the time, frustrated with the pay, on their feet all the time, lacking freedom in their life, the things that are the problems that you help solve for independent stylists, barbers alike in the hair industry. So are you educating people in the chair, or are you educating people behind the chair to listen as well?
Behind the chair, definitely behind the chair. And salon owners who, you know, like I'm working with 3 salon owners now, and it's, you know, finding the quality hairstylist to work in their salon. But a big part of it is finding the right person who is a fit, but you can actually make them the quality hairstylists by training them.
How do you get to the salon owner, Pauline?
Fortunately, because I've been in this industry for so long, I do have a pretty big network, both here on the East and West Coast. So having worked for a distributor on the West Coast is kind of been my foot in the door to get to salon owners. And again, I belong to a business networking group. So my commercials basically are, someone here has a hairstylist or a barber, and again, there you might be complaining about their business. That's when you can kind of give out my name.
So when you're because you have that network, having worked with them in the past, how are you nurturing those relationships now to get to the point where you show up on their radar so that they either buy your service or they're aware of what you do and educated so that they can refer you? How are you staying in touch with them now?
Well, now because I have my website actually officially launched at the end of the summer. So now I have a podcast and I have a blog, and I'm going to start doing some videos like in the salon, of course, before my day starts, to kind of give like key pointers to hairstylists and salon owners out there. And I belong to quite a few hairdressing groups, as you might say, on social media.
Okay. And with your current clients now, are you finding ways to over deliver to them on a regular basis, sort of exceeding their expectations of the services that you offer?
Well, the interesting thing is the 3 different owners that I'm working for are actually all new salon owners. So they're all in their 20s, early 30s, which is great. I give them credit for taking the leap to, start owning a salon. And it's been great because I have that experience of running big facilities, and it is over delivering and helping them to grow their business a little bit faster.
Okay. And so when you're working with them, right, and they have a level of expectation for your consulting services, how do you find ways to exceed the expectation that they have? So like, for instance, you might say, hey, I call everybody back within 48 hours. Mm-hmm. And so that's your standard. But exceeding that would be calling them back in 24, for example. Or if they expect a phone call, but you meet with them in person, something like that. Do you have those types of things woven into your business?
Yes. Now? Yes, I do. As soon as, obviously if someone referred me to a salon owner, I definitely call within that 24 hours. And I usually do pick a face-to-face meeting. Eventually I do Zoom meetings like we're doing. Yep. But I do like to go face-to-face because I like to see the inside of their salon and, really get them in their environment. Okay.
And then, so when you're at the salon, you're obviously working with the client, you're interviewing the client, you're listening to what they're saying. Do you do other things where you become aware of the surroundings that you're in, but you don't necessarily say anything, and then you can use that information later? So I call this listening, right? But mm-hmm. listening like with your eyes.
Right.
So you realize that they've got some tattered capes, and then you just buy them new capes because you just noticed that they were tattered, or something mm-hmm. like that. Is there things like that you do?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, definitely being in the industry, I'm very visual, so I can, sit and have a conversation with them in the reception area, but obviously walking through the salon, maybe sharing with them, oh, how great or how beautiful it looks. But in the future, it is like taking notes of, well, maybe they could move this around or change that around. And even nowadays with social media being very big in our industry to gain clients, doing before and after pictures with your hair clients, I work with the owners and the stylists on how to improve their pictures so they visually look better. Because sometimes I can see on social media how people post pictures and some of them are, just not good.
And is that a service that you offer, or is that an over delivery?
I'd say like an over delivery. I mean, I think at this point, I'm starting to really listen to salon owners and what their needs and challenges are, and also what I'm becoming more aware of in the environment and industry now. So now it's kind of putting together my programs and really streamlining them to what the needs are today, not 10 years ago.
When it comes to working with your clients, in what ways have you found that you could surprise them?
It's once they start utilizing my suggestions for their business over, probably like an 8-week, 2-month period, when they start seeing that change happening and they start getting excited that, oh, this really does work, or she knows what she is talking about. And, I've kind of walked the walk, not just talked it, having moved from the East to the West and back to the East, I've had to rebuild my clientele twice. And then in the past year being independent, this is my 3rd time rebuilding my clientele. So when it comes to helping them become 6-figure hairstylists or 6-figure employees, I know how it's done.
Right. Now, and do you make a habit out of sending sort of handwritten thank you cards or note cards to people?
I have, yes.
Yeah. What impact have you seen from that?
It's a big impact because, everyone may get bills in the mail and nobody really gets cards and letters. And I have always been a big card giver anyway. So it's just something nice.
What advice could you give to people watching this now who are not card givers? Like how can they get started and why should they get started?
Well, definitely go buy yourself a box of just blank, nice note cards, always have them available, and, take that few minutes at the end of their day or the beginning of your morning when you're getting things ready for work, and just write a little note like, oh, thank you for the opportunity, or it was, such a great meeting we had. It was nice to meet you, and have stamps available and get it in the mail. It's really amazing how it makes a person feel inside, that you.
And how about yourself?
Well, in the same thing, like I was kind of raised that way. I've always been a card giver.
But do you feel like a dopamine rush when you write a card for somebody else? Do you get happy, like, and smile? Like, because when I write a card to somebody, no matter what the card is, I feel sort of the energy going into writing the card that I am becoming happier.
Right.
With that action of caring,
Well, and I think because that the recipient is gonna like open it up and be like, oh wow, like, Pauline or Matt sent me this card, like how nice was that? Because especially in the salon, like if I get a card from a client like, Pauline, like, thank you so much for taking the time out with me, you changed my life with my hair, like whatever it may have been in the past. It's so exciting when someone at the front desk is like, Pauline, you got mail, it's just like, oh, what did I get? So it is. It's nice. I
love that you used the word wow, because in the world of referrals, wowing people is such an impactful way to generate more referrals. And there's a well-known customer service expert who talks about wow moments or magical moments. And the key, his name is Shep Hyken, and the key is that when you get that jaw drop, that wow effect, it creates an environment that makes you, the business owner, more memorable. And if you think about the card for a moment, the fact that you're writing the card, it's going to generate a wow moment. It's going to generate an opportunity in a number of ways for you to be referred to other people. It's just a great feeling. And I love that you referenced that angle of it, because I think that sometimes people feel that way, but they can't necessarily or aren't sure how to articulate it. And I think you Nailed it right on the head. When it comes to your business specifically, in the world, because I'm not incredibly familiar with hairstylists or hair salons. I mean, I understand how they work.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm losing a bit of my hair, so I don't need a stylist anymore. I just kind of buzz the whole thing off. But you know, as a consultant for those people, what challenges do you face personally when trying to get more word-of-mouth referrals on a more predictable basis?
Well, it's part of my industry is, you know, you'll hear salon owners, you know, maybe talk about their challenges, or hairstylists talk about their challenges. And then it's, oh, well, I know somebody who can do this, but then they're like, oh, well, is it free? You know, and, you know, that's where my industry can be like, oh, I can't afford this, I can't afford that. But yet we can all afford anything we really want, is how I look at life.
Have you looked at people that could refer you on a regular basis that are not necessarily the end users or even the customer of the end user? So when I owned the web agency, the number one referral source for me was IT professionals, because they were knowledgeable enough to understand the web industry but never wanted to build websites for people. And so if we did 36 websites in a year, 32 of them would be referred by IT professionals. So I would always keep my eye out and build my partner network around those people. Now, as a professional speaker, I'm realizing a couple other things. There are a lot of people that want me to speak, but also don't want to pay. Yeah. But there's sponsorship relationships that exist where you can now get referred by a large entity, like a product, for instance, and the product would sponsor either a class or a service or something like that. In some cases, there, you know, I've got people interested in sponsoring my book, so they might not pay me to speak, but they'll pay for all the books because that comes out of a different line item. So if you could offer a training and then the product company would sponsor that, the people could show up for free, and then only the select ones that wanted to really move it to the next level, those people would not have a problem with paying. Have you considered that?
Well, that's interesting that you just said that, because I had a radio show for the past year, so I needed sponsorship, and the manager of the radio show, he's like, Pauline, get your sponsors directly from the hair companies, which I know a lot of that. And also, at this point, like, there's 2 big hair shows a year. One is in New York City every March, and another one is in Vegas during the summer. And that's where I want to actually get connected to, is both those shows, the marketing or whoever coordinates either show to speak at those shows, only to be able to be in front of hundreds, if not thousands, of hair salon owners and hairstylists. You know? Okay,
so if you're watching this video, then you might know somebody at some of these shows, or know somebody who goes to the shows. Maybe you can make a connection for Pauline to see how she could get referred into the show. Certainly from a public speaking standpoint, there are call for speakers out there that we fill out all the time, and sometimes that gets us in the door. But a referral is always way better to get past these call for speaker opportunities that 500 people will fill out and they'll only select 50 people. And so if you go to these shows or participate in these shows or know someone that goes to these shows, maybe that would be a good connection for Pauline. And keep in mind that when we talk about referrals, referrals are highly targeted, ready to buy people, right? What we're talking about right now is an introduction. That's much different than a referral, right? And I always tell people, you should never ask for referrals because it never works and you don't get the quality of people that you want. But you should ask for introductions, because that's completely different. You're not asking for the sale. You're not, because, you know, the referral, when you ask for referrals, it comes across as begging, right? It's like, oh, I need more business. Can you give me a referral? And people, the studies that we've run have always shown that people will refer when the opportunity presents itself. Well, what we need to do is be more top of mind aware for that opportunity. So how do we become top of mind aware? We send cards. We send personalized videos like BombBomb video emails. We send personalized Facebook messages and LinkedIn messages and things that cut through the noise of just general social media or all these other things that we're doing. That's how we stay top of mind. So if you're in our Facebook group, Get More Word of Mouth Referrals, it's a free Facebook group. If you're not in there, you can join it. If you are in there and watching this video, maybe you have a contact that you could connect Pauline with that could get her a step closer to the folks at one of these shows. What are the names of the shows? Do you know, Pauline?
Yep, the New York show is the IBS, which is the International Beauty Show in New York City. It's actually usually always over St. Patrick's Day weekend. And the show in Vegas is the National Hair Show in Vegas. A beauty show, I should say.
Okay, cool.
I mean,
yeah, so if you know anybody or you're around this world of beauty, you might know somebody who has either spoken at these shows before or has attended the shows. If they've attended the shows, they might have a program, they might have a contact, they might get the emails. Those are the types of things and introductions that Pauline needs to move her business to the next level and reach the heights that she's trying to reach. And so keep in mind, folks, that when you're looking at and watching these videos, that these are the types of things that our group is for. It's about sharing ideas and sharing information, maybe helping make connections. That's great. What we'd love to hear from other members of the group is, what stories do you have? What ways do you over-deliver to your clients? Do you listen and surprise and provide non-self-serving acts so that others in the group can learn from your experiences? And so we're going to start trying to share some more stories and do some more interviews with people. And if you're interested, just comment in the comments or post or send me a message and we'll arrange an interview and get you on here. Pauline, I want to thank you for your time. Again, her business is Shear Transformation. How can people get a hold of you if they do want to reach out to you, Pauline?
They can go right on my website and Shear Transformation, and all the information is there, and it will email me directly, and they can get in contact that way.
Awesome. Thanks so much for joining us on Referral Chat.
Thank you so much, Matt.